Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today is Thursday, October 17th, and Bitcoin is at 67,300. We have apparently entered the part of the election where it seems like it's a done deal. So the market may be reacting positively to this. If we look at the major indices today, look at the Dow Jones is up 0.44%, Nasdaq is up 0.68%, the S&P is up 0.38%, and the Russell 2000, which was in the green for the last 2-3 days, is down 0.3%. Dollar index is up. The dollar is gaining strength, which is not necessarily good for risk assets denominated in dollars, but I don't think that this will necessarily continue for a long time. VIX is down 2.86%. Really, the main source of volatility for us remaining in the markets in terms of near-term volatility relates to the geopolitical risk in the Middle East and what's going to happen there. The question about the Fed's next moves seems to be close to 80-90% agreement in the market that there's going to be a 25 basis point cut in the next meeting. And the other source of volatility related to the election seems to be going away as Trump pulls away in the polls, and we'll take a look at a clip of that may explain why he's pulled away in the way that he has. Looking at some of the individual stock names and how they're performing today, Tesla is down 0.64%. Nvidia is up. Now it's, I think, at or very near an all-time high, $139 per share, up 2.53%. Lithium is taking it on the chin today. The LIT ETF is down 2.34%. PLL is down 7.67%. That's why you always take profits, folks. Bitdeer has pulled back from its recent run, as did iron. Both of these stocks are up big in recent days, and so it's not that unexpected for them to take a breather, as Bitcoin takes a breather as well. So if we're looking at Bitdeer, it's up 11% in the last 5 days. Iron is up 20% in the last 5 days. So it's no wonder that they both take a breather. HIMS is still at elevated levels, close to 22. I think it might go up to 25 in the near term. We'll see about that. Mphase is down now less than $100. As I mentioned, I touched upon this in an earlier live this week. This quarter maybe, or post earnings, may be a really good time to get into this name, but I will let you know what I think about their earnings when they come out. They report earnings the same day Tesla does, October 23rd. Oklo pulled back from its monster run in recent days, so it was up 65% in the last 5 days. Not bad, not too shabby. Another nuclear power name, SMR, has remained resilient today. ASML is back up. We covered ASML. I actually added it to our watch list on PIF with buy below and sell above prices. Took a closer look at it. It's a really good company. We'll talk about Celsius today. We'll talk about Lucid, a bit about TSM. I'm going to do a deep dive for PIF members on TSM. TSM is one of our holdings in our dividend portfolio, up today close to 12% on strong earnings. So we'll see how we adjust our buy below, sell above prices for that name. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Sheikh Adnan, nice to see you. Sheikh Adnan, I think you should check out our watch list. It has been updated this morning and ASML has been added. Zuhair says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. Nanavia says, which halal stocks in the EV and AI industry do you think have a chance to increase 60% or more? Well, you're in the right place if you're looking for those types of returns, because we're looking for the same thing. Stay tuned as we go over candidates in equities, sometimes in crypto, to see where we can get those types of returns. Thank you all for your comments. So looking at the election forecast, it does appear that Trump is pulling away here. I've never seen an election that was so one-sided, and it seems like this ambiguity, this source of uncertainty in the market is now basically going away. And right now, the only thing holding the markets back, I think, from its full potential is the ambiguity, the questions related to what's going to happen in the Middle East, and perhaps some nervousness around Taiwan and what happens there. Yeah, but other than that, it does seem like we're primed for a really, really strong Q4 here. Now, if you're wondering why, and I am wondering why, all of a sudden, it appears that Trump is a shoo-in for the presidency. You need look no further than recent interviews that Kamala did, which I think she didn't do herself any favors in. So let's take a listen to some of the greatness that we've been privy to. All right, this is from a user called Clay Travis. This is his clip. I don't have the original video, so I cannot verify the sort of authenticity of the clip, but it does seem to be authentic.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people
frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know.
Can we just appreciate here for a second how bizarre that comment was? So the interviewer is asking her, hey, you've been in office. People are really unhappy with the direction that the country is going in. And her response to that is, well, Trump has been running for president. I mean, what do you even say to that? Anyways, let's continue.
You know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever
become.
of power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, frankly, exhausted.
Okay. It does seem like that clip ends prematurely before she makes a point. But then again, following her interviews, it does seem like she often doesn't have a point to make, and she just talking and without really anything to say. So let's look at this second clip. This is from America. So the country itself is speaking, apparently. So let's listen in here.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said at 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done.
All right. So is her response in any way related to the question that was being asked? I will follow the law. She's being asked, okay, you supported illegal immigrants applying for driver's license, qualifying for free tuition at universities, getting free healthcare. Do you still support these things? And her answer is, that was 5 years ago. I will follow the law. I mean, put aside an interview for the president of the United States. If this was an interview for a manager at Dunkin' Donuts, which I don't think she would pass. There's no coherency here. There's no relation between what she's being asked and her answers.
Not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we...
As is Tim Walz. You know that she doesn't have an answer. She's in no hurry to get to her answer when she speaks like that. Anyone who says, as is Tim Walz, is in no hurry to make a point.
Must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
There's a lot of...
All right. So, I mean, it's pretty remarkable that this is a person that's even a candidate for presidency of the United States. It does go to show that really, what they often tell children, which is that, you can be whatever you want to be, is actually true. So regardless of IQ score, you can run for president. That's probably true. I think if Kamala can do it, then you can probably do it too. Anyone can do it. So let's get back to investing. And I don't mean to, pick on anyone. As far as I can tell, she's just a normal person. I really don't want to seem like, I have anything necessarily against her, but I just think that she's very unqualified. And she is perhaps not deserving of being in the place that she is in, but that's a whole separate topic. All right, so let's look at Lucid. So if you're looking for a place or a share in a business that's burning money, if you've always wondered, hey, can I be a partner in a cash burning business? This has always been my dream. Well, look no further than Lucid. Lucid stock has tumbled yet again. So let's look at Lucid today, minus 16%. Following public offering to raise $1.67 billion. They're going to the equity markets trying to raise $1.67 billion. Shares of Lucid dropped during extended trading after the electric vehicle startup announced a public offering of nearly 262.5 million shares. Lucid intends to use the proceeds for general corporate purposes, which may include, among other things, capital expenditure and working capital. So that's great. So general corporate purposes. So, pens with Lucid written on them, bonuses for executive suite, private planes, all of that falls under general corporate purposes. So, if they are, they have the flexibility to do any of that given the description that they given, and how vague that description is for the use of the money. Now, shares of Lucid, in case you're unfamiliar with the company, so this is a electric vehicle company that is burning cash. Every car they make, they sell at a loss, basically. And they've been doing this for a while. They've gotten some cash injections from PIF, in fact, but not this PIF, the Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. And actually, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund is what is keeping this company alive. And they've committed to purchase of this new offering 374 million shares of common stock. The public offering will assist Lucid in raising additional capital, while the transaction with its largest shareholder ensures it will maintain its ownership stake. I really don't know why the largest shareholder wants to maintain their ownership stake and make sure that it is what it is and doesn't go down, considering that would mean they would lose less money. Lucid on Thursday said the offering will raise gross proceeds of about 1.67 billion for the automaker to use toward general corporate purposes, which may include, among other things, capital expenditure, working capital, and pretty much anything under the sun. The raise details marginally eased investor concerns. The stock was down about 15%. Lucid said the public offering is expected to close on or about Friday. Following the transaction, IR is expected to maintain its approximately 58.8% ownership of Lucid. Yeah, you wouldn't want that percentage of ownership to go down at all, considering how much cash they're burning. Lucid said the deal is subject to certain conditions at the same price per share initially to be paid by the underwriter. The announced transactions come 2 months after Lucid said the PIF had agreed to supply the company with 1.5 billion in cash. So after 1.5 billion in cash, they're raising an additional 1.67 billion from shareholders. So, a few months go by, they raise 3 billion in cash. Why is this the case? Well, let's look at this gem of a company. So year to date, it's down 33.73%. On the year, it's down 45%. Over 5 years, if you were lucky enough to hold this, you're down 72%. Now let's look at the financials here to see what the heck is going on. So revenue here is 200 million. Operating expenses 500 million. So do you see anything wrong? So operating expenses, we haven't even talked about cost of goods sold. Operating expense is 500 million, uh, more than twice as much as the revenue is. And so the economics of this business don't even work. And some people gain confidence. Okay, it's backed by Saudi Arabia's balance sheet, which gives it some security. I would say that's actually a liability, considering there is less urgency for this company to reach profitability if it could just tap into PIF funds when it needs cash. So when it's do or die, you have a lot more sharpness. You have a lot more urgency. You're more eager to cut costs. You're more eager to raise revenue. But when you have a ready source of cash, it will make you not have that same urgency. So I actually think the backing of PIF is not this channel. If this channel backed the company, they would be in much better shape. But the investment fund of Saudi Arabia, the backing of it probably makes it a bit more lax and a bit less eager to reach profitability, a bit less desperate, a bit less sense of urgency, a bit more comfortable. And all of these are bad. They're bad for the company and they're bad for investors and shareholders of the company. So this is a company I would not touch with a barge pole, as they say. So the next company we're taking a look at today, I get a lot of questions about them. Celsius, they make energy drinks. This is a very unique product that I'm sure no other company on earth makes. I'm just being sarcastic. It seems in the last 2 decades, everyone and their brother, their mother, their neighbors, anyone who could started a energy drink company, and for good reason. They have really good margins, and if they catch on, then they can do really well, and Celsius has done very well for itself. The question that comes to mind is whether or not this is a good time to buy into Celsius, considering that it's down 46% year to date. If you look at since its high in May, it's down 66%. So it's down a lot. I like to buy stuff when they're down a lot. And if we look at the financials for this company, they're not bad. So if you look at the market cap first, put things in context, 7.5 billion. Looking at revenue here, this is on a quarterly basis, keep that in mind. So revenue of 401 million. So we're talking 1.6, if we annualize this, 1.6 billion in revenue on a 7.43 billion market cap. That's not bad, especially if their margins are good. So let's look at their margins. So operating expense here, 114 million. So basically 25% of revenue. Remember, Lucid, their operating expenses were 2.5 times. Here, the operating expenses are 25%. Net income here is 79 million. So that's around 19% for their profit margin, which is not bad. That's a good profit margin. So net profit margin 19.85%. Cash is close to $1 billion, so they're well capitalized. Total assets, total liabilities, all of that looks good. And cash from operations, this number is low. Wonder where their cash went. So 39.64, but it's in receivables. Because cash from operations is close to 40 million, but their sales are 400 million. So it's probably they have a lot of inventory that they're going through. They have a glut of inventory that they're going through, and that's why cash generation is so low. And that's why probably the stock is down as much as it is. Cash from investing, 9.21 million. Cash from financing, 6.67 million. Net change in cash is plus 23.71 million. That's really, I think, what got investors spooked, is that cash generation is very weak. And so 23 million, whereas if you analyze that, that's 100 million in cash generation. But the market cap for the company is 7.43 billion. So I get it. I understand why investors were spooked. That being said, I think once they get through their inventory, this is going to be a cyclical thing. But if they get through their inventory, assuming that they're able to, hype up their products with maybe a new release or a marketing push or something like that, they can get back to cash generation, a healthy amount of cash generation. So it may be a good pickup now. That being said, if we look at it's by the way, if before you leave, if you're leaving, first off, leave a like if you enjoy these lives, and become a PIF member if you haven't already. But I will say that this is not a company that I'm necessarily interested in. The reason for it is because I don't see any moat around their business. If you follow content creators, you'll know that many of them are starting their own energy drink companies, and so there's a lot of competition. There's no moat. You really have to hit marketing hard, and I think that eats into profitability. Eventually, it costs more and more to make the same number of sales because there's so many different options, and you're hot one month, you're not hot the other. It's a tough business to be in, despite the fact that their margins seem to be healthy. And so I rest easier knowing that there are moats around the companies that I invest in. It doesn't seem like Celsius really has a moat. If you look at so this is on an annual basis, keep in mind. So if you look at the net profit margin for this company, it's 21% as of September 2023. Sorry, these are quarterly numbers. So September 2023, it was 21%, dropped to 14.4% December 2023. March 2024, it was 21% again. June, it was 19.8%. So actually, the margins have remained rather strong. So it does appear that this is a good business. It's a good business to be in. Again, it's my reason for not buying into it would be the fact that I don't see a moat around it. They do seem to be operating it quite competently, but I'm going to stay away from this one. Again, it may be a good time to buy into it if this floats your boat. If you like these types of plays, the financials look healthy. I think they'll get back to strong cash generation because right now they're probably going through a lot of inventory that they have piled up, and it may take them a quarter or two, but they'll get through that and probably get back to a much more robust cash generation after that, and it should be and that should coincide with a stronger stock price and a rebound in the stock. But what floats my boat, what I like to focus on, are names like TSMC, again up north of 12% today, because these companies have a moat that's very hard to pass. And so I'll stick with those. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with something like Celsius. This is something that maybe someone like Warren Buffett, who likes more boring businesses, may be interested in, but I am not. Let's take some questions here. It would be great if you can arrange a PIF meetup in the UK. I would love to. Actually, my sister lives in the UK, so I do have reason to go there beyond the PIF members. So maybe inshallah someday, if I'm visiting my sister, we'll try and arrange something like that. Yeah. So no more Lucid. One more market Tesla share. We just need Tesla stock price to reflect that. Yeah, and keep in mind, Rashad, wa alaikum salam, by the way, and wa alaikum salam to Amran as well. Keep in mind, we do have earnings coming up, so hopefully those are strong, and we see a stronger rebound here in Tesla. If we get a lower price, I mean, it's already in our buy zone, I believe, for Tesla. So this may be a good opportunity to pick up some shares. Dr. Boss, I think you're a PIF member. If you are, you can check out our PIF watch list to see our buy below and sell above prices for ASML. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming. Leave a like if you haven't already. Become a PIF member. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.